The potato famine took place in Ireland, and during the time, millions migrated to the east coast of America, and later to the Midwest, especially Iowa. This map shows the most concentrated parts of the country where the Irish settled. The potato famine, also known as the Great Hunger, took place in Ireland from September 13, 1845 to 1849. The cause was a fungus-like organism called Phytophthora intestines that spread throughout the country. This was very detrimental and destroyed over half the potato crops. Effects were still being seen 7 years later. The population relied heavily on potatoes for the food intake, so due to this lack of food, over 1 million Irish died from starvation as well as diseases such as scurvy. This led to over 1 million people in search of a new home, which for many was America. My grandmother talked to me about how her grandparents moved from Ireland to America and how they dealt with the effects of the small living quarters on the ship and lack of employment upon arrival. Her grandparents didn't have any other choice but to move to America because they would have starved to death if they stayed in Ireland. Despite common thought, life in America was not much better than back home. The massive amount of immigrants led to poverty and continued unemployment. They were often looked down upon by the people, and none of the store owners wanted to employ an individual from Irish descent. The Irish Poor Act had a substantial effect on the people and took place in Ireland. This was enacted July 31st, 1838, just before the potato famine. Back in Ireland, this law had a great impact on the country. There wasn't a similar system to this prior to the famine, and it offered relief to those experiencing homelessness. Though once the famine began, many of the unions found themselves in debt, making it even more difficult to feed the people. Despite the efforts of the act, it was not enough to change the lives of the population dramatically enough, and over 1 million still fled to the United States. The Naturalization Law of 1802 also had a great effect on the immigrants. It stated that a foreigner had to declare their freedom 3 years before they would really be considered a citizen. This made the process of arriving and becoming a U.S. citizen much more difficult for the Irish. New marital laws in 1855 also had a very essential role in immigration of women from Ireland. Many of the women who emigrated came in response to the new law allowing women to marry a naturalized citizen from the United States and be granted citizenship. This is how some members of my family were able to get to the United States and start a new life. The law stated, "Any woman who are now or may hereafter be married to a citizen of the United States and who might herself be lawfully naturalized shall be deemed a citizen." Many Irish who immigrated have a similar story to that of my grandmother's grandma. Living in Ireland was so hard that citizens had no choice but to leave. They all faced the tough journey on the ships, dealing with the spread of disease, and upon arrival in America, being forced to the bottom of the economical ladder. As time passed, families were able to move west and create better lives for themselves. In America, in the beginning, everyone came from different backgrounds, meaning that everyone was new at one point or another, and we have to acknowledge this. Being American means having respect, loyalty, and will to make a change for the better. The primary role of the government is to ensure justice in the community, to make sure life is equitable for all individuals, and to offer every person the respect and freedom they rightfully deserve. The United States is inclusive in a sense that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were attempts at trying to better the country, as well as creating railroads that were able to bring the country together, and finally having religious freedom. The United States is exclusive, though, in a sense that the country has faced severe segregation as well as strict immigration laws.